What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and most of you are here for a Red Sox recap video. Well, here you go.
Yeah, I need more guards here.
No, I'm kidding. That's not it. But that video of Chris Sale after his tough outing in his rehab start in Worcester is basically how everyone in Red Sox Nation feels right now. Because if you haven't heard yet, the Red Sox dropped 2 out of 3 games to the Tampa Bay Rays. That is 3 losses in series in a row. That is also the trend that continues to happen for the Red Sox in the AL East, as they have yet to win a series against an AL East team. And that's what we're talking about today. We are talking about everything that happened in this Rays series, some good, a lot of bad, and a little ugly. We're also going to talk about what the Red Sox need to do at this point. Now that this has happened, what is the next steps? But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video. It helps it out a ton. And if you enjoy this video, share with a friend or family member that loves the Red Sox as much as you do. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. I just simply don't get this Red Sox team right now. It's like they're running full speed ahead, full steam, and then bam, they shoot themselves in the foot. And then they try and get back up and sprint even harder. Or it's like a roller coaster where it's up and down, and all of a sudden it feels like the Red Sox have come to a screeching halt. Hopefully that is enough metaphors for you guys about this Red Sox team. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna break things down a little bit differently. As you can tell, I'm switching up my hat, I switched up the jerseys. Let's switch up the recap too. Maybe some of this little different mojo will help the Red Sox in some way. I don't know. I'm trying everything here. We're gonna break this down by game. In game 1, we got Austin Davis as the starter, but really this was Cutter Crawford's game. Cutter Crawford ended up going 5 1/3 innings, striking out 8 and not allowing a single run. And this is kind of what we've seen from Cutter Crawford this year. He's either really good like this outing, or he gives up 6 runs in 3 innings. There's really no in between. I still think Cutter Crawford can be a legitimate weapon in this Red Sox bullpen. Maybe not this year, but at least next year, the year after. He's got some pretty nasty stuff. On to the bullpen, and we're going to start with Davis because technically I think he had a bullpen outing. I don't really know, but he went 2 innings, allowed none, and the bullpen really did their job in this one. Schreiber went out for 1 2/3 innings, struck out 1, and did what Schreiber does best. And this was really the only full complete game by the Boston Red Sox because the offense actually did well too. Story had a bomb pretty early in this one, which was really great to see him go opposite field again. Whenever he goes opposite field, I feel like he's going to get red hot, and he kind of did in this series. Devers had an RBI single. I don't know how this was a single and not an error, but either way, it's an RBI in the book. And the Red Sox continue to score the only way they know how right now, and that is on errors. Like I said, that Devers one was a gift, and this one was a little nubber back to the mound that just got completely whiffed on, and they were able to score a run on that. And besides that, you had Franchi Cordero lacing a nice little single into right field. And that was game 1. I want you guys to buckle up and get ready because after that, it is a spiral. Game 2 saw Nick Pivetta, and Nick Pivetta had his worst outing, in my opinion, of the year. He went 5 2/3 innings, giving up 7 and only striking out 4. It was a really tough start from Nick Pivetta, a guy who has been extremely consistent with amazing performances lately. It was gonna happen, right? Guys have off days. It's something that happens during a 162 game season. Problem is, Nick Pivetta picked the worst possible time to do that. The bullpen in this game was fairly decent, I would say. Hansel Robles was the only one who gave up a run, and I would rag on Hansel Robles about being a non-reliable reliever, but he's no longer on the team. If you haven't heard, Hansel Robles got DFA'd over this series to make room for Bayo. As much as I will always salute Hansel Robles for what he did last year for the Boston Red Sox, especially during the last couple of weeks as we were pushing towards the playoffs, it was just simply time. I think we all saw this coming at some point, and I'm kind of glad it happened to make room for someone else in the bullpen. The offense actually tried to claw their way back a little bit in this series, and by claw their way back, I mean Xander Bogaerts had a good game. He had a 2-run home run in the first inning that went to dead center. He also had a sac fly in the 9th, and Trevor Story had another home run in this game. That was 2 games in a row. Hopefully, again, this was one of the bright spots of this series was Trevor Story, who had a double in game 3 as well, and hopefully he's getting hot a little bit. The Red Sox play so much better when he is playing well, so hopefully that is a trend that continues, especially against this Yankees team. Game 3, we saw Brayan Bello make his debut, and this was probably the most hyped game of this series, and unfortunately it didn't go exactly how Bello, I'm sure, imagined. He went 4 innings, gave up 4, and struck out 2. Listen, before we wave the red flags on Brayan Bello, how he's all smoke and mirrors, that's simply not true. His stuff looked really great. He was nervous. It was nerves. It happened in almost every single first appearance we've seen from a minor leaguer this year, where they just simply are nervous. His control was all over the place. He was leaving too many balls down the middle, but his movement and his velocity looked great. And I think this is not even close to the last we're going to see of Brayan Bello in a Red Sox uniform, just maybe for a little bit. As for the bullpen, again, you had your unreliable relievers doing unreliable reliever stuff. Sawamura in 1 inning walked 4, gave up 2, and I know his stats look okay, but he continues to be my least favorite reliever in this bullpen, and I think it's because the stats look so good, which doesn't make any sense to me because it feels like every time Sawamura comes into a game, it's the end of the game, and this is just it. We're throwing in the white flag. Other than Sawamura, Danish also gave up a run in this series, but Danish also pitched 4 innings in 2 nights, so 1 run, not the end of the world. I do have to shout out Diekman when we're talking about the bullpen though, because Diekman had a couple of good outings in this last couple of series, and that's a great sign for this Red Sox bullpen. Diekman's starting to get his control a little bit. He struck out 2 in his 1 inning outing in this series, so I'm perfectly okay with Diekman right now, which is kind of crazy to say. As for the offense, there was quite literally almost none. You had JD with an RBI single, and I think it was the 8th or the 9th inning. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It didn't really matter to the score. At the end of the day, this Red Sox offense went cold in this series. Besides game 1, you really didn't have a ton of offense to talk about. And that is the problem with the Red Sox right now. They're feast or famine offensive wise. Right now, if the Red Sox want to dig themselves out of a hole, they are going to need to find a happy medium between red hot and ice cold. All in all, what the last 3 series have done is brought out the ugly side of the Red Sox that we knew was there, but they were performing above. Does this mean that the Red Sox are out of contention? No. Should we start waving the red flags and say that this season over, declare a state of emergency? No. What this series does though, is it does make it harder every day to have the Red Sox be a competitive team in this division. Can they still do it? 100%. Is it going to be more difficult? Yes. In my opinion, this series was hopefully a turning point for the Red Sox. And what I mean by that is injury-wise, right? You've kind of had a band-aided starting rotation these last couple of weeks, but in the next couple of series, you're getting back Whitlock, Waka, Sale, hopefully Josh Taylor, hopefully Evaldi, and hopefully this pitching staff looks much stronger going into at least the last series in New York. That is my hope at least, but at the end of the day, all this did, in my opinion, was highlight the stuff that Chaim Bloom needs to do at the deadline. The deadline's coming up, and this team is going to look a lot different, and that is what is giving me hope right now, is the injuries coming back as well as the additions that are hopefully going to be made at the deadline. The Red Sox are not dead by any means. The Red Sox are still in this. They still have a wild card spot. They're in a 3-way tie right now, and there is still a very good chance that we see them playing October baseball. They just need to make the adjustments to get there. But that is just simply my opinion, so let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this Red Sox skid right now. What do you think of the Red Sox going into the Tampa Yankees series? And let me know what your thoughts are on the Red Sox in general. Let me know everything down below. As always, if you've made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you made it to the end here, you clearly enjoy the content, might as well subscribe. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button. Pretty much the same concept, right? You made it to the end, you might as well hit the like button because it helps out these videos a ton. And finally, based on those 2 things, if you enjoyed this video and you've made it to the end, do me a favor, make sure you share with a friend or family member who loves the Red Sox as much as you do, because there's a good chance they'll love it too. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.